Hey, it's the Chief Bonding with board games and RPGs, and I'm here with Tales from the Loop from Free League Games. Now, they'd sent me a teaser PDF of the book. I'd kind of looked through it. I wasn't sure it was for me. It kind of billed itself as a starter RPG. It's kids in the 80s. I like that. You know, Stranger Things, all that kind of stuff on bikes, kids on bikes exploring and mysteries. But I thought, this won't work with my group. Backstory, and then what we will do is go in and look at this. I'll come over top, we'll look at the pages so you can get an idea of what is inside here. Older game, but I think a lot of people maybe look past it. Real quick, stepdad, 92, fell down the stairs, injured, serious, hospital. Meeting with my mom, 81, going through a lot of stress, having lunch, and I just got her talking about like when she was a kid. And she starts talking about growing up in Chicago, and when she got on her bicycle, I think she even said when she was like 10 or 11, it was freedom. And she was supposed to only go to like a certain area or a certain park or to the library, but she would venture into areas she wasn't supposed to go. And it was funny because in my mind, I started thinking of Tales of the Loop. Tales from the Loop, not of the Loop. And I mentioned to her, because one thing I thought, and I knew it worked for me, was when I play role-playing games, even board games to a certain extent, but role-playing games a little bit more, it takes my mind off of whatever the real-world troubles are, and it immerses me very deeply into the make-believe role-playing world of whatever game system I'm playing. And I mentioned this to her and told her it was about solving mysteries and being kids and adventuring, and she wasn't sure about the 80s thing, but she said the bicycle thing and spending time with me sounded interesting. And I told her, let's just try a character build. Let's build a character. And I built one, and a 10-year-old, and explained it to her. I sent her sheets so she could see what she was doing, and then I walked her through. She created a character called Phoenix, who's 14. Magical. So I'm going to just touch that we've played multiple games. She's journaling along as we go, and we get so immersed that I'll say, Mom, it's been a couple of hours, and you're starting to look a little tired, and she'll go, it's been 2 hours. I'm like, yes. And she's like, we got to keep doing this. And she'll text me randomly, like while I'm at work, and say, hey, I was thinking about this and what was going on with that mystical tree. And I was like, And she's been coming over when we can make it work weekly. Stepdad's doing fine now. He's back home. He's doing great. But of course, that takes a lot of her time as well. But I told her, hey, you got to take care of yourself as well. So what this game is good for before we come over top is if you have folks that maybe have never role played. This might be a conduit to get them in, especially if they've seen Stranger Things or even It, scary. Or that whole idea of the 80s is attractive, or adventuring, or mysteries. Now, I have a caveat. I use the Mythic emulator so that I play this with her cooperatively. I'm not running her through as a DM. I'm playing a 10-year-old kid named Crown right next to her. Now, I am, rolling up things on the Mythic chart and yes/no questions and kind of parametering the rules, and we're deciding together what some of this Mythic emulator action subject stuff is, but it's working great. So she did say she might come on one of these and just talk about the experience. I don't think we'll be filming our gameplay, but who knows? We're going along so well, maybe she'll want to do that. But I wanted to have her on just because I've mentioned it in a couple places, and I'll get a couple questions now and then. But enough of that. Let me come over top, and we'll look inside of Tales from the Loop from Free League Games. All right, over top, looking at the cover. Right off the bat, you can see the kids, a couple bicycles. You can see these cooling towers in the background, and just that 80s feel with that Twilight Zone kind of what's going on here. Now, I've watched a few of these episodes. They're good. They're a little bit different, but the show is good at kind of showing maybe what the pace of the game is as well. Mysteries will unfold more like a mystery would. We don't know what's going on. There's not tons of just crazy action going on. It's more like adventuring. You can see we're dealing with a fairly thick book. Again, I'll open this up here in a little bit. Good little breakdown. So one of the very cool things with Free League, and they do this with a lot of their games, is you can have the map that you're using in Free League, and this even states 1981. I'm going to mess up the name, but Reichsen something, Stockholm. So you have that option, or the one we took was playing in Boulder City, right off of Hoover Dam, not too far away from Las Vegas, and with Lake Mead right nearby. Now, obviously, a lot more of a desert environment, so we had to take that into account, but I also like the breakdown of the city itself. And one thing I did was share photos of this map page with my mom, and then I even went and looked up Google and Google Maps, and I zoomed in. We found some different areas. She said as a kid she loved to climb trees, and I'm thinking, ooh, trees in the middle of Boulder City. Turned out there was a municipal cemetery kind of over in this area, if I remember right, that had trees right on the satellite photos. So I was like, perfect. So you get that level of immersion and a wider area to explore. Let me come back to the front. So one thing you always get with Free League is beautiful layout. This is their logo. I actually really like the orange. You can see the theming with the orange almost looking like tabs. Their chapter breakdowns are so clean. The artwork, so nice. The way you get a feel for what you're about to read, flipping to the pages you need. I just love whoever's doing their art and their layout. Now, they do kind of have a lot of open space throughout the book, but I like that as well. It still feels extremely clean and easy on the eye to peruse. So again, you can see that same orange color palette coming through with Welcome to the Loop, great explanations on what's going on. The gist I'll give you is that you're in an alternate 1980s. There was a huge tech explosion in the 50s, anti-grav stuff. There's these freight train, large anti-gravity machines. There are robots that are AI sentient. There was some kind of war thing going on, and weird tech that you can run across, giving you a lot of open possibilities, especially with the Mythic emulator, to come up with action subject that can even give you little mystery hooks as you play along, and that's what we're doing. I'm not using any of the mysteries that are within the book. There are some. I won't spoil those for anybody. But it also gave me, as I read through some of those, it gave me a little bit of background, a little bit of spice, a little bit of way to kind of know how to deal with the tech and the loop. You are using the Mutant Zero system, the dice where your skills and attributes are going to track to how many dice you're going to roll. If you've got a body of 5, you'll be rolling 5 dice, and then if there's a skill that ties in with whatever the body action is, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. If you had a skill in 1, you would now be rolling 6 dice. You would roll them, and you're going to be looking for 6s. I find the system, first of all, it's easy because you're doing no math, you're just looking for 6s, but it doesn't feel as exciting. I like the ease of it, but sometimes chucking all those dice and not getting any 6s, it feels lackluster. Now, the key with all Mutant Year Zero systems is there's a push mechanic. So you can re-roll those dice. You have to role play what it is, and in this game you have 4, I think they're called conditions, but you can explain, like, you know, my character at first doesn't see X, but he just really, you know, spends a bunch more extra energy searching the area, and he's exhausted. And I get to re-roll those dice, and so I'm re-rolling those same 6 dice in this case, and they have an odds probability chart of what are your odds of getting a 6 with this number of dice on the first roll. Then if you push it, what's the odds on the second roll? And you can see pushing your rolls is a big part of the game. If you take 4 conditions, you end up broken, and you can't die in this game. You can't die. The kids can't die in this one. Tales from the Flood, they're teenagers in the 90s, they can, but here you're just broken, exhausted. Maybe your parents have to come pick you up. Your friend you're with's in trouble because whatever, who knows? You got to role play through. But that's a key point as well, is that in this game, the 10 to 15-year-olds don't die. They can get broken, maybe even injured, but they're not going to pass away. Again, I love it because all you got to know from system to system is what's the tweak on the push. You know, is it stress, like Twilight 2000? Is it a mishap that's going to happen in The Walking Dead? Again, beautiful art. So you can see the evocative 80s. It gives you the age of the loop, gives you all the back history, kind of lets you know what's going on. For my mom, I broke this down in probably 3 to 5 minutes, just explaining we're in a weird alternate world in the 80s. She was very busy in the 80s, finishing up her master's degree. She felt like she wasn't going to be able to be ensconced because the 80s flew by for her. The character sheet allows you to like your favorite song from the 80s, so we spent some time kind of reminiscing and getting back into what the 80s are, which was fun for me as well. So here's a great page showing the Magnetrine flight and how it works. So you can see what looks almost like a caboose to me, but this is more like think of a diesel engine, and explorable for the kids. Imagine it being anti-grav up in the air and being able to haul stuff cheaply and easily. Chapter 3 coming in and explaining the US loop, which is where I'm spending my time. Again, you can see one of the bots here, so it's just frozen in time, or you're seeing the police cars, so maybe it showed up, maybe the kids triggered it in some way, and it's causing a problem. It's just evocative. You know, what's going on? This kid's over here. What is he doing? The cop cars are there. There's houses in the background. What is that? Smoke off to the left? What is going on? And again, the kids, just beautiful artwork here again. You know, you're seeing these descending metal rings that are going down under the water and the kid looking. So we're going to get into the kids and the different archetypes or types that you play. So Mom picked a bookworm. She didn't like the artwork because she feels like Phoenix, her character, is way more of like a tree climbing tomboy, not a kind of book nerd. But I explained to her, hey, that's just the artwork. She wanted to go with the bookworm just because she said she loved the escape she had as a kid going into the library and adventuring via books. Now, when you're playing the character, if anybody's played any Free League games, these are the different key skills you're going to get. So they'll list key skills that you can have higher numbers in. So it's going to help you when you do those things, steering you into that archetype. For example, the bookworm has calculate, investigate, and comprehend. I'm not going to go into exactly how to break down a character. If I get some interest or requests in the comments, I'll come back and walk through just, hey, we're going to create a brand new character here, and I'll show you how to do it. I'm going to try to keep this quick. I'm going to show you my guys. So we got Computer Geek, but I am the Hick. And because we're in Boulder City, the whole premise of my guy is, of course, he's a little techie and tinkery, but he's also rough and tumble. And I made him 10, the youngest you can be. They've got a very cool thing here where you get luck points. You get 5 luck points if you're 10, and it goes down 1 as you get older. So when you're 11, you're only going to get 4, and then all the way up to 15 where you get none. But if you get a luck point, you can re-roll one of those dice chucking rolls if you didn't get a 6. You just got to explain, hey, I got real lucky. You get to re-roll it. You can see you got a jock. There are rolls underneath and little anchor triggers and things on your player sheet that you can pick from default options or just make up your own. Popular kid, rocker, troublemaker, weirdo. I would have called them goth. I don't know about weirdo, but that's fine. Weirdo's fine. So you get into your age, your attributes, your luck, your skills. You get to have an item with you. My item was actually under my Hick German Shepherd. And my empathy is awesome. So I thought, yeah, he's going to have a dog with him. And that dog can give you 2 more dice, +2, if you invoke him in a session or with a problem. You get into relationships and drive and anchors. So again, we're getting into very nice art explaining what a trouble is. So when, if you can role play through part of your adventure, no need to roll. But if you're running into a trouble that is going to fit one of your attributes and skills, then you're going to roll those dice to determine your success. You can get multiple successes, and then you can role play through of what those multiple successes, not only did you achieve climbing that tree, but something extra. You see something awesome from your vantage point. I'm going to show a couple more pages, and then we'll be done. All right, chapter 6, it will break down a mystery. It's going to feed you through multiple phases, which it breaks down on the side, and then as you read through, you as the DM would be able to guide your players through. Now again, I'm not using these mysteries, but they've been very helpful to kind of give me the feeling and the gist and the pacing and how I want to present it, because I'm playing cooperatively with my mom. And we're using the Mythic Emulator to find these mysteries and to drive us through some things. Again, I'll have her on the show. She said she's willing at some point, and we'll talk about it a little bit, and that'll show how the world has come to life. One more mystery, the mystery landscape. There are several mysteries in here, and many of them will even give you layouts that you can walk the players through, so you don't have to just create them from whole cloth. So yet another mystery, and this one's a little odd. I wanted to show it because you're going to see it's creatures from the Cretaceous, and you can see like a dinosaur raptor in the background. So there is some time travel elements that can be brought in as well. Again, if you've seen the show, you can see how it can get really trippy on occasion. Right, I want to show a sample page. I'll probably take a picture and put this up depending on how clear it is, or put it up. I used the Free League's site that doesn't use color pages. It's a little easier on my printer, but you can see how you're going to have your attributes. So body, tech, heart, and mind. Then you've got your conditions, and those are the areas you would check off as you pushed a roll and re-rolled. And then you have your skills right down here, and you can see they're very nice at the skills. It will tell you like sneak and then parentheses body. So you know if you're doing a sneak action, maybe you've got 2 skill in sneak, well, you're going to also be using your body attributes. Let's just say it's 4 and 1. You will be rolling 5 dice as you try to sneak past your parents who are watching Johnny Carson late at night, and you need to get out of the house to go rendezvous with your friend. Again, I won't go over all of this, but this is going to flesh out your character. If there's enough interest in the comments, I'll come in and show exactly how we would create a character. Nice little index, and then we're back to the back of the page and the map for Boulder City. So, Tales from the Loop. Again, I will have Mom on the show. I'm going to show a picture. The first time we were playing, my wife actually came down, and as she was leaving, she snapped a photo. Neither of us knew she took. We were so engrossed in the game, I didn't even know she took a photo. But it was very cool, and it's been a very fun opportunity to adventure with Mom in the 1980s and the kids. And she's 14 with Phoenix, and I'm 10 with Crown. So there we go. Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs.